Here we go.
Yeah. Episode 2 of the Dolphin Dorks is underway. I am your host, Mike Hernandez, Mikey Mike, and I'm here with Robbie T.
Yo, everybody.
I think Robbie T might be the biggest nerd that we have on our show.
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
But that's good, because he's full of information.
Some information, not all. Everybody had a great weekend, everybody. This has been 3 of the most interesting days of sports out there. We had a weekend of playoff football. And I mean, I need to say this right now. The NFL really wants to expand the playoffs.
Playoffs?
Add more teams. God, I hope it never happens.
I hope not too, because then it lessens the quality of the playoffs.
Playoffs?
I understand they want to do it for monetary purposes. That's the only reason why they want to do it. Because if you expand it, there's going to be more playoff games. It's going to, there's going to be more viewers. There's going to be higher ratings. But when it comes to the quality of the football,
but that's the thing, though. The ratings were down because the quality of football was terrible.
Yes. But that's not the NFL's fault. That's all the franchises that can't get their act together's fault.
Well, some of it's just bad luck.
Yeah, some of it's bad luck, some of it's injuries, and then some of it's just...
Some of it's just paying $72 million for an awful quarterback who won a playoff game.
You like that? You like that?
Finally. I don't even know. If it wasn't... Okay. For those of you who don't recognize this, we're talking about Brock Osweiler right now.
Brock Osweiler.
Brock Bottom.
I mean, I'd rather have Brock Lesnar play quarterback for my team than Brock Osweiler.
Yes. So Brock Osweiler gets lucky in not having to face Derek Carr in that playoff game. He escapes with a victory, but he doesn't deserve that contract. He has been horrible throughout the whole season. He's been inefficient, and I just can't stand him. I can't watch him anymore. They had to bench him for Tom Savage after they signed him for that huge contract where they said, "Oh, he checks every box." Box of sucking.
I heard they didn't even interview the dude. They didn't even interview him, from what I heard.
Huh. And then they sign him to a monster deal without even giving him an interview. So, yes. So,
let's stop talking about Brock for a little bit.
Yes.
Let's go to the actual reason you all are listening to us. The Dolphins. How about them?
Dolphins.
How about them damn Dolphins?
Dolphins make me cry. But, I mean, after Sunday. I mean, I wanted them to win, but we all knew realistically they didn't have a shot. So, okay, let's do a Dolphins-Steelers recap. Here we go.
Yeah, recap.
Dolphins lose to the Steelers, 30-12. Matt Moore, 29 of 36, 289 yards, 1 TD, 1 interception, 97.8 passer rating. Not too bad.
Impressive. He completed 80% of his throws. So that says something about that Pittsburgh defense.
Yes. So Jay Ajayi couldn't get anything going. He rushed 16 times for 33 yards, had a 2.1 average. Jarvis Landry had 14 targets, 11 of them catches for 102 yards. Kenny Stills...
Much better than his best friend?
Yes. A lot better. And we'll get into that later. So Kenny Stills. 5 targets, 5 catches, 82 yards. Parker had 6 targets, 4 receptions for 55 yards. On the Steelers side, Big Ben had 197 yards, 2 TDs, 2 interceptions, 105.3 passer rating. Le'Veon Bell, 29 carries, 167 yards, 2 TDs. Antonio Brown, 5 catches, only 5 catches, but went 124 yards with 2 TDs.
Most impressive.
trying to emphasize the 5 catches.
Most of that in like the first 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And after that, they just give it to Bell because
Yeah.
Le'Veon Bell, as Stephen A. Smith on First Take would say, he's a bad man, bro.
He's a bad man.
You want to see who's bad? You want to see who's bad?
Omar Kelly of the Sun Sentinel didn't believe it. He thought Kiko Alonso could, hold him off, but he couldn't. Let's see.
Kiko Alonso was doing it with one hand. How the hell he's going to hold on to that guy?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I want to get into that little tweet later on in the show. Right now, for the recap, let's see. 3 minutes into the game, Antonio Brown takes a screen pass down the left sideline for a 50-yard TD. Next,
That's when I started my first moment.
Yeah, I know. We all did. Next Steelers possession, Brown takes a slant for 62 yards. Cuts up the middle of the field where the weaknesses are on defense, through the linebacking core, through the safeties, and just went all the way down for a 62-yard TD. 14-0 Steelers.
And that's when again.
Yeah, I know. I told the people that. So, top of the second quarter, Steelers march down the field, and Bell gets a TD.
No me gusta.
But the Steelers missed the extra point. It's 20-3 Dolphins. 7 minutes to go before the half. Dolphins finally get something going. Moore gets whacked by Steelers safety Dupree.
Who that? Who there?
But he's out for one play, goes through the concussion protocol. He's back in, and Dolphins get a field goal on that drive.
Matt Moore is a tough dude.
He's a tough son of a gun, yes.
The
The Dolphins came after Dupree after he got hit.
Yeah, dude, that game, that's what I love about the playoffs sometimes. All those guys, it's so chippy. All these games, they all want to freaking beat each other up.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful watch sometimes.
Yeah, they really do. So later on, before the half, safety Michael Thomas intercepts Big Ben on a deflected pass with 1 minute left to go before the half. Then a couple plays later, Moore bombs a nice little pass to Parker and gets the Finns inside the 10, but then is strip-sacked by the freak of nature, James Harrison.
The freak of nature who spends like $1 million a year on like keeping his body in shape.
Yeah.
He's actually said that. Like I forgot the actual amount. I'm exaggerating there, but it's a pretty high amount how much he takes care of his body. And by the way, people, that's drug-free body because he gets tested a lot, allegedly.
Yes, that's true. And then,
Random question: you think he's a Hall of Famer?
I'm not sure. He's definitely a very, 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 very productive player for a long time.
Pro Bowl,
a feared player. I don't want to mess with James Harrison.
I think out of those undrafted players, he's definitely an all-time great undrafted player.
Yeah.
Like, as that guy overachieved like all hell.
Yeah.
Continue, Mike.
All right. So second half, the Dolphins get the ball back because they deferred in the first half.
Always the right thing to do.
Always the right thing to do. However, when you have a bad defense,
I still do it.
Yeah, I'd still do it too.
I learned that from my brother when he always played NFL 2K on the Dreamcast. He always deferred. He always deferred.
It's a great thing because you could get the ball before the first half ends and then back in the second half. The second half's more important anyway.
Exactly.
So Dolphins receive the kick in the second half. They go down the field on their first possession to the Steelers 37, but the Steelers send multiple blitzers, and Moore is strip-sacked again.
Oh, no! We suck again!
What happened on that play is that Ajayi went to engage James Harrison and then came off of him and then to chip Steelers number 23. But then Moore was trying to escape the pocket at the same time. They just kind of bumped into each other and caused him to fumble as he was getting tackled at the same time.
And that's when you know he ain't going our way today.
No, it wasn't because, those were two very, very key scoring opportunities that were lost. And then the Steelers go down the field and kick a field goal on that possession. Then next Dolphins possession, Moore throws an interception. Then the Steelers get a TD off of that. On the next possession, compliments of Bell, 30-6 Steelers. And eventually the Dolphins went on a 9-play, 70-yard touchdown drive, capped off by a Damian Williams score. But, It was basically over by then.
Man, I'm getting like really depressed right now listening to all that.
I know.
That was not a fun game to watch.
No.
I think deep down, look, all teams got a shot at winning a playoff game. It's a one-game elimination. Anything happens. Anybody can get hurt. A certain turnover can make or break a playoff game. I feel like Miami. Maybe the moment was too big.
That's loser talk.
No, this is we had a lot of veterans on that team, and this is a lot of them's first playoff game.
I actually think the Dolphins played really well in this game, despite the score. Like, I know the score looks really, really bad, but if you look at the team statistics between both teams, Miami dominated the time of possession 32 minutes to Pittsburgh's, 27:58. So, look, they dominated the time of possession. Right?
Matt Moore threw 80% of his passes.
Yeah, they were really efficient. They were in this game. And then Miami had 18 first downs compared to the Steelers' 19 first downs. And total yards between both teams, the Dolphins had 305 yards and the Steelers had 367. So it's not too lopsided there. But, those two, when they were in Steelers territory.
That interception near their area, near our area, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Was definitely the momentum shifter. I think that was, once you intercept there and you give them basically 20, 30 yards to score a touchdown, it's just so hard to come back from that, especially, with a quarterback that's not going to win with his, he's not going to win a shootout.
The turnovers, at least they weren't stupid turnovers. They were just forced turnovers by the other team that disrupted what the Dolphins were doing. So it's not like they played really bad. It was just one of those things that the defense kind of earned. And that's what happened there. Yeah. If the Dolphins scored before the half, which they should have done because it's very, the Steelers did a great job forcing a turnover there. And then if they scored after the half on their first possession, the score would have been 20-20. And it would have been tight because the Steelers would have never gotten the field goal off the turnover.
Yeah.
And then, and then had everything played out the way it did, considering if the Dolphins scored there and the score was 20-20. If everything played out the way it did, without, the turnover effect, the score would have ended up being 27-27, and everybody wins. Everybody's happy. Steelers are happy. Dolphins fans are happy.
No one's happy.
Yay.
If you lose the game, no, you're not going to be happy.
Yay, communism.
Shut up, Mike.
Anyway.
Shut up. Just shut up. This game just proves that the Pittsburgh Steelers are a little more flawed. Because, again, they still gave up a lot of passing yards to Matt Moore.
Matt Moore, backup quarterback.
Matt
He
Moore
played extremely well, better than I ever thought he could play.
That's credit Adam Gase for that. I think maybe he is the quarterback guru that I thought he really wasn't. I'll get into more details about how I feel about Adam Gase later on in the show. But back to Pittsburgh. A lot of people think Pittsburgh is a Super Bowl contender, and they are. I think offensively, they have they do have the triple threat. I think Ben Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell, and Antonio Brown, there hasn't been a triplet like that since the Cowboys triplets.
Yep, Cowboys triplets.
Yep. But I don't love their defense, and I don't think they're not going to say well coached, but I think they're not buttoned up. Maybe it's the right word I'm looking for.
Why don't you love their defense?
I'll give you this. Their defensive line is good, and they do got good linebackers.
Yes.
But their secondary is very young. They are playing a lot better. But, again, you still gave up a lot of passing yards to Matt Moore.
That's true.
And I think
I agree with you on the young secondary.
Yep. Got Artie Burns from the U. Shout out to him.
Yep, shout out. The U. So yeah, I think the Steelers they've been a little inconsistent this season. Sometimes sometimes they dominate opponents, and then other times they kind of play down to them.
They do play down to them. I think they had a really good late run, but I think because they were playing a lot of easy teams. But I don't think...
Especially the Browns where they sat, I think they sat the triplets in that
They
game.
did. They sat the triplets.
And they still came off with a win. It was a close game.
Yeah, it went to overtime. Cleveland should have won that game, like in the overtime, because they were like 5 yards away. I actually saw the end of that game. But, it's the Browns. It's the Browns.
Yes, it is the Browns.
You are a factory of sadness!
God, the city of Cleveland.
I hate Cleveland. I hate Cleveland. Guess what, listeners? I hate Cleveland teams. Mm-hmm. I hate New York teams. I hate Boston teams. I hate Los Angeles teams. And I definitely hate Cleveland teams.
Yes. I mean, I don't hate Cleveland teams. I mean, I hate LeBron. I don't like LeBron. I think he's selfish. I think he's arrogant. But other than that, I just find it funny how Cleveland is just kind of a crappy town.
It's all factories.
And then all their teams are crappy. So it's kind of suiting.
What's so good about Cleveland?
Yeah. The Browns is the worst franchise, without a doubt.
You are a factory of sadness!
I was hoping they go 0-16, so I could just laugh at them forever. Will they draft Deshaun Watson after this championship run? I don't know. I'll say my opinion on that when I do the recap of the national championship game.
Yeah, I want to do a lot of draft stuff like after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, of course.
So we could totally focus on what's going on. So anyway, moving on to the national championship game, which was played the other night.
Unfortunately, my co-host here did not watch the game.
No, I did not. I had to go to an employee party at a yacht club and stuff my face with salad, cocktail shrimp, and some mahi-mahi. So I'll take that over watching a college football game or Nick Saban by extension.
You mean Nick Satan?
Yeah, Nick Satan by extension. I don't want to watch him.
Here's the real question,
Great
Mike.
coach, but no.
Here's the real question, Mike. We need to know.
Great college coach, let me specify.
Mike, I need to know.
What?
About this employee dinner you went to. Did you get wasted?
Oh, plead the fifth on that one. Since this is over the air. I had a couple drinks, yes.
I had a few Chardonnays. What of it?
Did you get wasted like you got wasted back on Saturday night?
No. I didn't want to. No. Saturday night was that was a terrible night. Yeah,
it wasn't that terrible, everybody. Trust me.
No, it was a fun night, but I had a little too much fun, and then it led to a terrible Sunday where I had to watch the Dolphins game with one eye open. All right, so national championship game.
All right, so yeah, this is the big rematch of last year's championship game between number 1 Alabama, and number 2 Clemson. This time, let's just say this right now, there really is a God, because Alabama and Nick Saban finally lost the championship game. I think we don't need to go into detail about our opinions on Nick Saban.
Nick Saban is the biggest piece of turd to ever hit Miami.
I think history speaks itself.
All right, kids, today we're going to read the biography of Nick Saban. It starts off with a quote from Nick Saban himself. Football is not Hamlet. It's not tragedy. It should be fun. Tell it to your face. Saban, who was then the head coach of the Dolphins, had publicly denied any interest in the Alabama job over and over and over. Well, guess I can close the book. There's no way he's going to Alabama. A man is only as good as his word.
Keep reading!
Saban knew how it would look if he left the Dolphins after just 2 seasons. He would be called a liar, a failure, and a quitter. Say it with me, kids. A liar, a failure, and a quitter. But the decision wasn't his alone. Yes, it was. Nobody gives a shit what your wife thinks. Wayne Huizenga was paying you millions of dollars. You don't even give a about your wife. You know why she wanted out. She felt ugly in Miami. And if you want to feel smart, sexy, and special, you surround yourself with thousands of toothless townies in Tuscaloosa. She also believed that a college town was a much healthier place to raise their 2 children.
Didn't his daughter Kristen almost murder someone with her bare hands?
Yes, she did. Saban says in the NFL, you were penalized for success.
What success?
Exactly. The NFL barely penalizes wife beaters. I'm pretty sure they'd be okay with back-to-back playoff appearances. Saban had a choice between Drew Brees and Dante Culpepper. He's going to try to say, oh, the medical people advised me. He wants to take no responsibility for picking Dante Culpepper over Drew Brees.
Drew Brees won a Super Bowl.
Culpepper, knowing his career was being ruined, shouted at Saban, you better get your short motherfucker away from me, you lying motherfucker. Let's be honest. He killed Culpepper's career. Culpepper was the co-MVP of the league.
The other co-MVP was Steve McNair, who was killed by his mistress who worked at Dave & Buster's.
Well, I believe that's true. Saban is 5 feet 8 inches tall.
So, is he a lady?
Saban's go-to gesture when he was really angry was to reach his hand back to grab his own butt cheek.
Was he checking his own oil?
Saban still eats 2 Little Debbie oatmeal cream pies every morning as he drinks coffee. Here you go. They're his favorites.
You know what's in these things? High fructose corn syrup.
This is poor people food.
So how does the story end?
He had an asshole father, now football's too fast, he's a piece of shit at the end. The book's not selling well in Alabama, but that's just because they're poor.
He is a
turd.
He seems like a guy that when the going gets tough, he just quits. And that's why he went back to college, because he knew it would be easier than the NFL and fixing the Dolphins in that situation.
To me, after this whole Lane Kiffin situation, in case you people don't know, a week before the game, Lane Kiffin was officially relieved of his duty as offensive coordinator for Alabama, so he could focus on his new job in Florida Atlantic University. Good luck to him, I guess. I've never been a fan of Lane Kiffin, and I still will not be a fan of him now. Sounds like
a little bit. I mean, I think we all know what he is now, but I think early on in the Lane Kiffin days, he was a little bit of an overrated coach.
I think he's always been overrated. I think he's just a dude that gets a lot of attention because he was a young coach that got the biggest job ever, being the Oakland Raiders coach.
That's true.
So, yeah, he was replaced, and there's been a lot of bickering between him and Saban.
Turd.
There's been, a lot of inside information that they may have not gone along as well. And Nick Saban is very, very, very hard to work with. Where one quote saying that you're basically just biting your tongue for 4 years until you get a better job kind of thing.
If Nick Saban walked through that door right now, I'd say, let's go. Let's start throwing down.
However, Steve Sarkisian, known as the drunken head coach that was relieved of his duties of USC, became the interim offensive coordinator for the championship game. And I respect Steve Sarkisian. I think we know he's a great coach. But, well, let's see the stats speak itself. Clemson did, of course, win the game, 35-31, ending Alabama's winning streak.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness indeed.
And Miami Dolphins fans can finally smile after a Nick Saban
turd
national championship game.
Yes.
Which we've been waiting a long time for.
Yep. Trust me.
He always seems to escape.
I watch a lot of Alabama games because I really want to see Nick Saban do this.
Turd.
Because I hate Alabama. I hate Nick Saban.
Biggest 2-bit phony fraud I've ever known in my life.
The ultimate liar and contract breaker.
God, they're not even that fun to watch. They just got a bunch of elephants in the front seven that just tires out offenses.
Yep. It's been his trick to winning.
Yep.
It's been his little scheme ever since he got there.
And that's what it is. It's just one big scheme because those elephants turn to freaking ants when they go to the pros.
It's true.
I mean,
Eddie Lacy.
No, Eddie Lacy was good. Dude, out of all the running backs, Eddie Lacy was the best one that came out. Oh, my God, because it's Nick Saban's fault because we got to talk about Bama all the time. I hate it.
I don't want to talk about Bama.
But we have to. We need to talk about how much they sucked last night. Well, they weren't that bad, but anyway, congratulations to Clemson again, to Dabo Swinney and to Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson, I do believe, will be an interesting prospect. He's not going to go before anybody makes that. I know the Cleveland memes are starting right now about him already getting drafted to Cleveland.
What's so good about Cleveland?
Cleveland Browns is not going to draft Deshaun Watson first overall.
You are a factory of sadness!
I think that's too much of a reach, and I think he's more of a project than anything. I don't think he's someone you could plug in. He's not going to be Andrew Luck where you can put him in there immediately and succeed. He is definitely someone that's going to have to sit a year.
And what do you like about him? What do you don't like about him?
I love his poise. I think he's got real great poise. I think he's really a confident kid. I think he's a good kid. He's got really good mobility. I do love him when he runs with the ball. Passing could be better. I think they will probably, wherever he gets drafted to, is going to work on his passing mechanics. Mm-hmm. But he's got a little clutch in him. He's a big game player. And, you know, he did make Clemson great. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, Clemson ain't going to be this great next year. Clemson gets a lot of great players, but it's all about the quarterback, and it's going to be a while until they get someone in Deshaun Watson's caliber. But he will not be the first overall pick by the Cleveland Browns. So Cleveland will screw that up somehow.
Or maybe he will be and screw up the first overall pick. It's the Browns. You never know.
Well, I do have a lot of respect to Hugh Jackson.
Yeah.
You don't live in Cleveland. You live in Cincinnati.
Unfortunately, I don't. You know what? I don't know. I don't want to get into the Browns. I'm
okay. I apologize for our fans for whatever reason they tune into us to talk about Dolphins. We're talking about the Browns.
I know. Why are we talking about the Browns, the worst team in the league? We don't even care about them. Anyway, so
yeah, I think we just like using the toilet sound effect this whole time. All right. Okay. So yes, Clemson wins 35-31. Deshaun Watson, 36 out of 56 for 420 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and 145 pass rating on a Nick Saban defense.
The turd, as Mad Dog used to say.
I miss Mad Dog.
I know, me too.
Alright, man. Mad Dog is smiling in the heavens right now.
Yeah, Mad Dog is smiling in the heavens.
Fans here at Pro Player Stadium are going berserk. All right, Miami!
Oh, man.
Alright, true freshman quarterback Jalen Hurts, who everybody raves about all year. I think they finally understand why he may not be as great as the people thought he was. 13 out of 31, 131 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, with an 88.1 pass rating. Trust me, I watched that game. He did not play that great. Like, I think the last few weeks, Jalen Hurts, I'm sure you didn't really see the other games, I'm assuming.
No, I was busy. I didn't see anything.
No, like, he did not play that great in the playoff game against Washington, and he definitely did not play great in this game. Now, I know the media is probably going to say stuff like, you know, the Lane Kiffin thing, did that contribute to Alabama's losses? You know, they're going to make a story out of all this stuff. Mm-hmm. I think there is something to it, but also I just think it's an 18-year-old kid. He's not developed yet. He's not ready to play.
No, it would be so rare that an 18-year-old was ready to play in the NFL.
He can't throw a deep.
Like in hockey, basketball, I guess those things could kind of happen. Baseball, those things could kind of happen, but not in the realm of football. Your body needs to grow and mature a lot more.
Yeah. But let me just talk about the game itself. That was definitely one of the all-time great college football games. Like, it's up there. Like, I think Texas USC will always be number 1. But this game is a close second. Unfortunately, you got to put UM versus Ohio State in that game, which I'm not going to go into detail about them. You know, we were only robbed and all. Screw you, Ohio State. Alabama had a 14-0 lead early in the first quarter. They scored it was 7-0. Then the second quarter it was 14-0. Right before halftime, Deshaun Watson made a run into the end zone to make it a 14-7 game. Bama scored in the third quarter. Bama scored a field goal to make it 17-7. And then Watson with some great passing to Renfro for a 24-yard receiving touchdown to make the score to 17-14. And then, I don't remember, I'm trying to remember, I don't know if it was a busted coverage or just a great play call. Tight end O.J. Howard scored a 68-yard receiving touchdown from Jalen Hurts, making it a 24-14 game. And then in the fourth quarter, the clutch kicked in with Deshaun Watson. The clutch!
Deshaun Watson!
4-yard receiving touchdown to Mike Williams, who, by the way, will definitely be probably the first wide receiver getting taken in the draft. I'm sure we're good with wide receivers right now, but, there's always going to be that one team. And then a 1-yard run to get the lead to 28-24. And then somehow, some way, Jalen Hurts scored a 30-yard touchdown run to get the lead back to 31-28 with 2 minutes left on the clock. And you know how it is. When it's 2 minutes, time for the prevent defense minute!
Yes! The prevent defense. One of the biggest myths in football.
God, I hate the prevent defense, I'm just going to be honest.
It all depends on who you face. It really does.
That's true, but with impressive play calling and just great performance of Deshaun Watson with 6 seconds left. I kid you not, 6 seconds left. On the 2-yard line, they scored a passing touchdown. There might be a little controversy because there was a pick. I don't know. I didn't really see it as a pick. Maybe I'm not looking at it right. Some people might debate, refs will never call that when it's the final seconds. There's always those talks about that. But in one of the most clutchiest performances I've seen in a long time, they did get ahead with a touchdown with 1 second left remaining. And then they did the weakest kickoff ever to get the onside kick in the game, and that was that. The streak was over, and your new champions in the college world, the Clemson Tigers. Congratulations to them. Congratulations to the ACC, home of the UM, of course. Shout out to you. I'm going to give a shout out to UM real quick for winning their bowl game. So congratulations to them a few weeks back over West Virginia.
Not that it really means much.
It's good for us. I think
it's good.
It's
for the fans and everything.
It's the program going in the right direction.
Yeah, at least we won a bowl game.
Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to talk about the playoff game. The championship game, because I think this is a very, this may be a Dolphins podcast, but still talk about football.
Yeah, we got to talk about football.
We always got
all the time.
All the time. And most importantly, Nick Saban lost. Woo! Woo! Woo!
Going down.
Burn in hell, Saban.
Hopefully, this is is the beginning of something special for Dolphins fans. Just hopefully Nick Saban gets in a slump.
Turd.
And he can't, do everything I wanted to do.
I don't know about a slump, but they still recruit them.
We got to move on. We spent way too much time on this subject than I wanted to.
Yeah, I know. I hate the Browns too. I know.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, so NFL playoff recap. Let's do it.
Well, let's start with the worst of the worst, the Texans versus Raiders.
Yeah, let's start with that one. The Raiders and Houston game, it was, a lot of people called it a boring game. It was really close for the most part for a while. It was a lot of back and forth. Connor Cook, he just looked like he was out of his element. They tried to run the ball and throw short passes, 10-yard passes to the running back as much as they could. But, they just couldn't open it up because they had an inexperienced quarterback. And
in his first career start, people, he's the first quarterback in NFL history. His first official start was a playoff game.
Yeah. And the Texans, they're the number one defense in the league right now. And all they had to do was just pretty much stack the box and just, prevent him from making big plays and, just put him under duress. Jadeveon Clowney had a great game.
Jadeveon Clowney had his first interception ever in his football career.
Yeah, and he had a couple sacks to go along with that, too.
Even Brock.
Brock Osweiler, he looked good because... Well, he didn't even look good. He just looked efficient for like the first time I've ever seen him.
He did throw some nice passes to the DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, I know. Finally, he throws to Hopkins.
I know, right?
Jesus.
I mean, look, 14 out of 25, 168 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, a 90.1 passer rating. Very, very okay. You know, a little better than okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm being a little harsh there.
Yeah, he looked efficient. He didn't look. I mean, he had a couple of nice throws. You know what? Okay, fine. He actually looked pretty good for like the first time ever. And it couldn't have came at a better time for the Texans because they were in the playoffs and they needed to escape with a win. And he got him to him. He loves the tight ends though. Brock Osweiler loves throwing to his tight ends more than he loves throwing to DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, you know, his Pro Bowl wide receiver. You know,
to be honest, I really think they just should have stuck with Brian Hoyer. Brian Hoyer, I know he had that bad game, against the Chiefs last year, and they got blown out. But at least Brian Hoyer threw to DeAndre Hopkins all the time.
I mean, all those quarterbacks. They had 4 quarterbacks that year. They were all throwing it to him.
Yeah, Lamar Miller had a pretty steady game. He had a couple touchdowns in that game too.
Good old Lamar Miller, I miss you, buddy.
Yeah.
That game just shows how important the quarterback position is.
It really does.
Look, J.J. Watt was out for the year, and he's considered the best defensive player in the league. The Texans not only made it to the playoffs, they won a playoff game without their best defensive player. And they did it with even an inferior quarterback. For the Raiders, dude, this could have been a Super Bowl contender.
They could have been. And then their main focal piece went down. He was the key to that team. I know he's got Amari Cooper and Michael Crabtree to throw to, but
Crabtree.
I don't know. I still like him. I don't know why he wears that necklace though. I don't know why he wears that gold chain necklace that he wants to get dragged down by, and then he complains that Aqib Talib broke it. He should. Well, what do you think's gonna happen if you wear a necklace and you're playing football? You don't think someone's gonna potentially grab it and break it?
Look,
to bring you down?
Look, I watch a lot of Niners games because my brother is like the biggest Niners fan ever.
Yeah.
And he's Michael Crabtree for a reason.
So, I mean, we're done with probably the worst game in the playoffs?
Definitely the game. I mean, you're going to be the bad game when you're on the ABC ESPN game.
Mm-hmm. And it's the bad game when you're the first game on a Saturday.
Yeah. Look, remember, the NFL does this on purpose, people. They give ESPN the crappy games. That's why Monday Night Football is no longer great. Because they consider ESPN as a threat. Because ESPN is a terrible, terrible company.
I don't know. I mean, I don't really follow those kind of things, but okay. I know the hater over here is, he likes his certain things and he hates his other things. And,
I don't hate ESPN.
Know what it is? You hate ESPN because you hate Disney and you hate anything that Disney owns. And now you hate Star Wars too. Don't you?
I do not hate Star Wars.
You're beginning to.
The Jedi turned against me. Don't you turn against me?
No. I love Star Wars.
Oh, well, that's really...
And I love Marvel. But I don't like Disney stuff. I like Pixar though.
Yeah. Right.
I might actually cosplay as Anger from Inside Out one of these days. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do a little cosplaying on the side.
All right. So next game, Seahawks versus Lions. Seahawks win 26-6. It was a really close game until the fourth quarter with 9 minutes left when the Seahawks marched all the way downfield and punched it in with a Thomas Rawls TD. It was then 19-6 because the Seahawks missed the extra point kick. Later on, Doug Baldwin makes an amazing behind-the-back catch with 4 minutes left for the first down, and a couple plays later, the Seahawks put the icing on the cake in the game with a Baldwin 13-yard TD. He was running a streak along with one of his other teammates. I'm not sure who exactly it was, but Russell Wilson saw both of them, and he just said, I'll throw it to one of you guys. One of you guys are going to come down with it. So we just put a nice little touch pass behind the defense, behind the line, terrible Lions defense, by the way, for that touchdown. And then that was game.
The Lions were probably the biggest fraud out of the NFC teams that are in the playoffs. They won 8 comeback wins. They won way too many close games. it doesn't necessarily make you a good team. It just makes you kind of a lucky team. You can make the argument about the Raiders too. The Raiders have some close wins too. But I think the Raiders just has more offensive talent than the Lions.
Yeah.
But again,
no, the Raiders definitely do.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, what I was saying earlier, the quarterback matters so much. Matthew Stafford was playing like an MVP. I think look.
He was carrying the Lions team.
Look, I need to say this. I think Matthew Stafford is the most underappreciated quarterback in the NFL.
He really is.
He plays in probably the worst run organization of all time. I mean, this is an organization that had two transcending talents in Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson, and they both retired in their prime because they couldn't stand losing anymore.
That's true.
This is the only team that went 0-16, which is so hard. Even this Browns team is probably a worser talented team than that Detroit team, and they still mustered a win. As a matter of fact, they were supposed to beat us, and they should have beaten Pittsburgh in the last game of the season.
Oh, man, Matthew Stafford, I think this year, I mean, I know he's had a couple, pretty good years in the past, but I think this year without Calvin Johnson, he looked like, man, must I say elite? He looked like a really, really good quarterback. I might even say like an elite quarterback because he just read the field. He made so many amazing throws to Marvin Jones and Golden Tate.
That guy has a top 3 arm.
Yes.
That guy could fling it anywhere in any direction.
He's a leader on the field for that team.
Dude, remember, people, some of these great players, some of these quarterbacks, look what teams they got to play with. Phillip Rivers plays with San Diego. San Diego is so poorly run.
Yeah. And they're always dealing with injuries the last couple of years. His receivers always go down. Danny Woodhead's hurt again.
And we talk about how great Big Ben is. Big Ben plays in the best organization with an elite defenses and in a scouting departments. And, I mean, they only had like 3 coaches in like 40 years. Detroit is so, like, it's such a awful run franchise, and he puts duct tape on that team.
He does. I mean, they don't have for the last couple of years, they don't have a running game.
He never had a running game.
For more than a couple of years now. It's got to be three or 4 years.
Dude, his whole career, he never had a running game.
Never had a running game. The defense this year, it's terrible. I don't think it's ever been good. I mean,
they had one good year on defense.
Yeah, I know they had Ziggy Ansah, who's supposed to be good, but he doesn't get enough sacks either.
He had a really lousy year this year.
Yeah. So yeah.
Look, I'm going to say this: you put Stafford on the Dolphins, we'd be a Super Bowl contender right now. You put Stafford on.
I would definitely right now at this moment I would pick Stafford over Tannehill.
Yeah.
I mean I still think Tannehill's on the rise and everything, but Stafford he's so far ahead of Tannehill when it comes to the mental aspect of the game.
And you just see the talent, and like there's talent in that kid, and it's always he can't win any playoff games. Like, you know how hard it is to win in that city.
It's so hard.
Right? They're not the Detroit Red Wings, right?
The longer you've been bad, the longer it is to fix everything and get back on track.
And look, he hurt his finger. He hasn't been the same. Simple as that. If you don't have a healthy quarterback, you will struggle, and it happened.
Mm-hmm. Well, also they were playing in Seattle. That doesn't help. Seattle's always great. They've had multiple playoff games and big games in Seattle. Ever since Pete Carroll took over, and they've always won.
And look at that Seattle team. Once they got Russell Wilson, come on, Seattle was a never-was franchise either.
Yeah, I know, but they, it's so balanced. Like they only really ask Russell Wilson to throw it when they really need to. So I mean,
Russell Wilson can carry that team.
No, I know he can. They don't ask him to. In certain games they do, in certain games they don't.
All right.
I'm not saying this. I mean, I love Russell Wilson. I think he's a great quarterback too.
I love him too.
Okay, so moving on to the.
Let's face it, this was the game everybody was interested in watching.
Yes, I really wanted to watch this game. It was Giants versus Packers. Packers win 38-13. On the Giants' first drive, Eli misses 3 potential TDs. He underthrows Shepard on a streak on the right side of the field. Shepard had to stop and come back. Although he made the catch, if that pass is thrown on target, Shepard could have possibly ran down the field for a touchdown. And then a couple plays later, Eli drops back and throws a beautiful pass down the right sideline to Odell, who was wide open because he burned his defender that was covering him. And Odell drops the touchdown. And then a couple plays later, Sterling Shepard drops a similar touchdown where he burned a defender on that right side of the field. So, the Giants kick a couple field goals here and there. And then the second quarter, with 2:30 left, Rodgers throws a TD to Davante Adams. That puts the Packers ahead 7-6. Rodgers gets the ball again right before the half with a couple seconds left and does what he does best before halves and at the end of games and throws a Hail Mary to Cobb with 6 seconds left from the 42-yard line, which is just unbelievable. I've never seen a quarterback do this kind of thing in so many games, in so many big spots where it's actually successful. I know it's a play that should be successful, but I've never seen a quarterback do it so often with so much success.
He needs to legally change his name to Aaron Rodgers because he is a god. He's a quarterback god. I'm going to let Mike finish the recap real quick, and I want to talk about Aaron Rodgers after this because...
All right. So in the third quarter, this is where basically the game kind of got out of hand. 5:22, Eli throws to Tavares King for a deep TD. It's 13-14 Giants. And then after that, it was all Packers with TDs to Davante Adams and Randall Cobb. The Packers defense was basically getting to Eli after that, and eventually he threw an interception at the end of the game, and that was it. They tried to come back, but they just couldn't. That's the Lambeau Field miss.
It's at Lambeau Field. It's the distractions and the media attention from
the great quarterback that can just carry that team and put up loads and loads of points if you don't get to him. And yeah, okay, go.
I want to take this time. Look, I know this is a Dolphins podcast, but this is football as well.
This is football. We're here to educate.
This is football, and I'm here to tell my opinion on the football. My opinion on Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry, Aaron Rodgers.
The football. That was a terrible forced impression.
Awful.
Yeah.
Awful. Anyway, Aaron Rodgers is probably the best quarterback I've ever seen in my life. And I think he will go down as the most talented quarterback to ever play the game. I think he's better than Tom Brady. Tom Brady will always be the most accomplished quarterback ever. And then Aaron Rodgers is just better. He's better than John Elway.
All around.
He's better than Dan Marino. I'm sorry. Guys, I love Marino. I don't think he's a great person, but man, that guy was a great football player. The greatest to never win anything. But damn, Aaron Rodgers is just so damn good.
So talented.
The guy's got Marino's passing skills. He's got John Elway's arm strength. He's got Steve Young's mobility. He's got Brady's accuracy. I mean, this guy's... He's only had 2 double-digit interceptions in his career. In two seasons, he's only had double-digit interceptions. Just 2 seasons. This guy's could score 35 and the rate.
He has the most ridiculous protection I've ever seen, and he also helps out with his mobility. He'll drop back, and the offensive line will have the defense, occupied for a couple seconds, and then after 4 seconds where he actually feels like he needs to move, he makes this little move up in the pocket, like really quick, like he's going to take off, and then it freezes the defensive lineman for a second because, all of a sudden they have to move upfield to catch with him, and then he drops right back, and it buys himself another extra 3 seconds. It's ridiculous. I've never seen a guy so mobile at the position before, and with so many great passing skills.
This man dethroned Brett Favre the most loved quarterback ever. He dethroned him.
They quickly forgot about Brett Favre.
Yes. They wanted Brett Favre gone for a reason because they knew this guy was going to be the next big thing. All right? There's very few quarterbacks, current quarterbacks, I just love to death. I just love watching them play. Look, I don't love Ryan Tannehill. I don't like watching him play. I don't like his game at all. I love Andrew Luck. I think he's the next big thing. But man, Aaron Rodgers is just Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry, people.
And he doesn't look like he's going to fall off. I think he's in, his mid-30s now?
32.
Oh, 32. Okay, so he's in his 30s. He's still got a good handful of years left.
This whole year, though, these things about these old players, talking smack about him. Then you got Skip Bayless with the Skip Bayless effect, always trashing Aaron. You want to know why Skip Bayless doesn't like Aaron Rodgers? I'll tell you why. Because he's threatened by him. Because he knows. Look, Skip Bayless is a proud Brett Favre fan. And let's face it, there's a lot of Brett Favre fans out there. I love him too. He was an all-time great.
All-time great, but threw a lot of interceptions.
A ton of interceptions.
I think his touchdown-interception ratio was basically equal throughout his whole career until he had that one season with the Vikings where he threw for 30 touchdowns and 7 interceptions or something.
Yep. Not to mention he threw a lot of bad picks. I remember it was on my birthday. It was against the Giants. His last game in Green Bay where he threw that pick. That sent the Giants to the Super Bowl.
Aaron Rodgers is he's light years better than Brett Favre.
Yeah.
He's light years better than probably a lot of quarterbacks.
Honestly.
I mean, based on talent alone. I mean, I know Brady, he's got the wins and the records and the championships, but based on a pure physical specimen.
I mean, he's literally the total package.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the worst thing you could say about him is he doesn't have that many comeback wins, but
he doesn't need it because he's always dominating.
The guy is just amazing. You could use stuff like he had great receivers. Yeah, sure. But remember, it's a team sport. You need great players. It'd be great. But this whole thing going on this year about he's over the hill. He hasn't been playing that great. At his worst, in the middle of the season, at his worst, before he made the whole "I think we could run the table" comment, the guy was still 23-8.
Yeah.
23 touchdowns. That's a great year for an Andy Dolan or a Rand.
I think that whole story was just the media blowing things out of proportion.
It was
because the Packers were still winning games. Yeah, their offense looked a little rusty, but they were still winning games. And the only problem was that Rodgers didn't look like Rodgers. That's the only thing. It wasn't like there was a huge scrutiny. Everybody was just bummed out because Aaron Rodgers kind of looked like Eli this season with the Giants.
Oh my God, no way.
No, I'm saying early on, because Eli in that offense was struggling.
Look,
throughout the whole season.
Only game I could think of that he was really not playing that great was that Minnesota game, and there's probably another one.
It was just very early on, but they were still winning, and then they had that rumor that Mike McCarthy was going to get fired because of the offense not playing well.
I don't believe any of that crap.
It's basically the media coming up with that story where Tony Romo's right behind Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott better not screw up for one game.
The media
Tony Romo's going to take over.
Look, we're not going to be like the media that starts all that smack.
No, we don't do that. I stay away from those bull poopy headlines as much as I can.
Look, if you fire Mike McCarthy, you're a crappy organization. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Look, I remember. I think one of the commentators mentioned how Mike McCarthy is questioning his greatness because he had Aaron Rodgers. That annoys me because no one says that about Bill Belichick and Tom Brady because they think Brady made Belichick made Brady. No, dude. You're a great coach. Simple as that. And I know he's a great coach. I mean, and you know what? I am one of those people that hates it when coaches get fired even though they win all the time.
Yeah.
I think it just shows this organization. Andy Reid.
Okay, but we did good. We had a good playoff segment.
All right, so let's go to the predictions for the next week's division games. We got Seattle at Arizona. Arizona's favored by 4.5 points. My prediction. I think Atlanta has been the most under-the-radar team in the league. I think because their quarterback is not a flashy, super good-looking, and, it's the Atlanta Falcons. Who really cares about them? They've been a great team all year. To me, they're actually probably a slightly better team than the Raiders. I think they're what annoys me is that we all praise the Raiders all year, but Atlanta was the same exact team with a better running game. They got two guys that can run the ball. They got a two-man punch. Julio Jones is an elite receiver. Matt Ryan is just a great quarterback. I don't love their defense, which is why they're not going to make it to the Super Bowl, because I don't think their defense is good at all outside of Vic Beasley. And Seattle, I know Seattle can win the big games. Seattle could probably make the Super Bowl, but you lose an Earl Thomas, and I think Thomas Rawls running all over Detroit because it was more of an anomaly than anything. If you can run the ball like that in Atlanta, I think they can get it there and beat Atlanta. But I think Matt Ryan has an MVP season to prove, so why he should be the MVP. I think he's getting tired of being under the radar, how no one respects them.
Yeah. If you look at, he throws for like 4,500 yards every single season. I looked it up.
Even during his bad years.
Yeah, even during his bad years where people were wondering why he's inefficient or whatever, like 4,500 yards every single season. And that's a lot of yards.
Yeah.
He's still a really good quarterback. I think they finally found an offense that clicks with him. Their offense is really similar to the Raiders' offense.
Yeah,
they throw, they have their main guy, Julio Jones.
They are literally the same exact thing. The only difference is he plays for the
Atlanta Falcons,
and they're not sexy.
Yeah,
Atlanta Falcons.
If you watch The Simpsons, you'll understand my
Atlanta Falcons
preference. All right.
So basically,
and the Raiders are the Raiders.
The Raiders, exactly.
Sorry, I still hate the Raiders.
We have, I think a lot of people, a lot of NFL fans, and a lot of NFL analysts have a lot of distrust between the Falcons.
Yeah, that too.
That's what it is. We don't totally trust the Falcons. They're playing good, and we're just kind of waiting for them to just finally hit a snag and fall off like they have always done.
All right, so in my opinion, I actually will pick Atlanta for this game. In the Facebook post, I thought Seattle would lose to Detroit. I was wrong about that, but I still love this Seattle team this year. I think you just losing Earl Thomas, which is going to be a big deal with the passing game. Mm-hmm. And it all depends. If Seattle can run the ball and keep the clock, then I think Seattle has a shot. But I think Atlanta is just a better team. I think that Atlanta's playing at an all-time level. I think Atlanta needs to prove themselves to the world. I actually did Atlanta in the early of the season. They make the playoffs. I was right about that. So I am going to pick Atlanta. I will take the 4. I will give the 4.5. I think they can win by a touchdown. I think it will happen.
I am going to take the Seattle Seahawks in this game, and I will tell you why.
Go for it.
Defense. I think that the Seattle. I mean, I know Earl Thomas is out, but I still think they have enough pieces to make up for that. They still have Richard Sherman. They still have a lot of good linebackers. They still have Michael Bennett. So I think that their defense can slow down that offense because they're just one of those defenses that no matter what quarterback they play against, except for maybe Tom Brady.
They did technically beat Tom Brady.
Yes. So, they could slow them down. And I also think that Seattle Seahawks, I think the Falcons' defense is so bad that Russell Wilson could pick apart the defense enough and score enough points that I think, it might be a close game, but I think Seattle will pull it out because Seattle they've been in this spot so many times before, and I just don't trust the Falcons' defense to stop Russell Wilson.
Okay. All right. Now the second game on Saturday night. These are the Saturday games, by the way. The Seattle-Arizona will be on Saturday. I think that's like a 4 o'clock game, if I remember correctly. And the later night game, like an 8 or 9 o'clock, will be the Houston at New England. Houston, this is one of the biggest point spreads probably in playoff history. 15, it depends on what books you go to, but the one I found was 15 points. Houston is a 15-point underdog against New England. which means if you bet New England, you better hope they score some points. I think this is definitely, like, everybody, like, you thought the whole Miami-Pittsburgh, like, respect was bad. No respect Houston at all.
No. Brady, like, it doesn't seem to matter what defense he faces. Like, he could go up against the top-notch defense, and I think he will find a way to, maybe not exactly pick it apart like Swiss cheese, but he will find a way to go down the field against it. And I like the Texans' defense. I like Romeo Crennel, and I like the linebackers. I like Brian Cushing. I like who's the cornerback that they have? Jonathan Joseph. I like him. I like the pass rush. I like Jadeveon Clowney. They have a lot of pieces, but I just don't respect Brock Osweiler.
I'm waiting to be impressed.
And I don't respect that offensive line. I like Lamar Miller, but the offensive line doesn't give him enough holds a lot of the time. And if Brady scores enough points, Brock Osweiler is not going to.
You mean Osweiler?
Brock Bottom. Osweiler. Okay. I don't think Brock Osweiler is going to match the points that Brady will put up.
No. This is definitely going to be the more one-sided games. Look, Houston has not earned any respect ever. They've always kind of been an overachiever.
They're only in this position because Derek Carr got injured.
They're in this position because their division is garbage, okay?
That too.
Seriously.
I thought the Titans were going to slip away with it, but then they hit a funk.
Yeah, they got hit by the
last couple games of the season.
Yeah, the both Carr and Mariota both have the same injury. It was a broken fibula. But yes, this is clearly going to be one of the more boring games. New England's going to pick this team apart.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Houston couldn't score a point against Jacoby Brissett. Okay? Jacoby Brissett.
Yes.
Okay?
The backup of Tom Brady.
Yeah. And it's a January playoff game at Foxborough. Brady never loses at home. It's one-sided. It's nothing's gonna happen. It's just gonna be Brady picking apart the defense. I guarantee you, it's gonna be like 28-3.
Is it gonna snow in that game?
I wouldn't even be surprised.
Oh man, I hope it snows in that game. I know I'm supposed to hate the Patriots and everything, but boy, do I respect them. And I love snowy games in New England. I love watching it. I love football in the snow. I love football in the elements. That's what makes football so great. Every other sport is played in a nice, controlled situation in a dome, like hockey. Hockey's played in a dome. Basketball's played in arenas. It's,
Yeah, but you wouldn't want to play basketball in freaking.
I know. You know what I'm saying?
Football and like weather elements is cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah,
and
but basketball.
I like the fact that every single stadium brings their own elements to the game.
I like how we set up the shades for the stadium. I love how we set up so the visitors' side always gets the sun on their eyes.
Yeah.
I think that's
I love
hilarious.
it. I love that home field advantage.
Love it.
Each stadium has their own kind of thing that they do. Mile high, you get 20% less oxygen. I've been in that locker room. They have a floor pattern on the floor that if you're in that locker room long enough and you look down on the floor, like it looks like there's lumps on the floor and you're kind of disoriented.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty cool.
That's right. You've been in that stadium before.
Yeah. It's really cool, man. The Meadowlands has the swirling winds. Miami's hot. Tampa Bay's hot. And then you got the snowy games. The cold-blooded places.
And then you got the lame teams with the domes, like Atlanta.
Yeah, I know.
Why does Atlanta have a dome?
It's such a... it's such a travesty.
Minnesota, I don't mind Minnesota having a dome because that's just way too cool.
But now it's outside.
No, it's still a dome.
It's still a dome?
Still a dome.
I thought they changed it.
Yeah, they were outside for those 2 years, but they're a dome again.
Boo. God, man, I want...
Boo or Boo Earns?
I want that snowy Minnesota, that true Viking weather. That's what I want. All right, so moving on. Next game.
I guess we could both agree New England will win this game by a large margin. They're going to blow them out.
I can see 2-touchdown lead. I can see them with a 2-touchdown lead.
They're going to win by it's like 28-3. I'm predicting this.
I mean, I think the defense is pretty good, so I don't expect too much of a lead, but 2 touchdowns is still pretty big.
Yeah.
Well, so I'll take that.
It's minus 15, so if you score 2 touchdowns, you're going to lose that bet.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Now this is definitely going to be one of the big games. I think Sunday definitely has. Well, in fairness, I think Seattle-Atlanta is a pretty big deal game, but Sunday, these 2 games are going to matter a lot. First up, the daytime game will be Pittsburgh at Kansas City. The line has been flip-flopping a bit. I think people do respect Kansas City more than people think. It's right now Kansas City's favored by a point, but that line can switch anytime. This is because one of these 2 teams could beat New England. I think that's what we got to care about right now.
Yes.
Who will beat New England? Because as Dolphin fans, we hate New England.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're one of those bandwagoning New England fans, then why the hell are you listening to us?
I'm in between. I just think New England's kind of in their own division. So I just don't even bother hating them.
And that's why I hate Mike Hernandez so much.
Yes.
You are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor.
I don't know why I'm even.
But that's okay. I hate the Jets. Oh boy, do I hate the Jets. And I really hated them when they had Rex Ryan. Oh man.
Jets sucks.
Yeah. And then Rex Ryan went to the Bills and made me hate the Bills even more.
The Buffalo Jills. Or in the internet, they call them the Razor Cakes. I still don't get that joke.
Yeah, we'll have to look that one up.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
Pittsburgh, Kansas City at Kansas City. So, as you know, they did play. All these games are actually rematches, by the way. They're all been rematches. All 4 of these divisional games are rematches.
We meet again at last.
Last time Pittsburgh played Kansas City, it was definitely blowout. One of Kansas City's worst loss by far this season. I definitely don't think it's going to happen again. They're playing at home. They're one of the best home teams. This is definitely one of those games I'm a little afraid of. So look, I honestly hate Pittsburgh. I always hated the Steelers. And, the Steelers has the firepower to beat that Kansas City defense. But, man, that Kansas City defense is pretty damn good.
It's no joke.
No joke.
I know, if you look at it, they're ranked, towards the bottom when it comes to, yards. But if you look at the points allowed per game, it's 19.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah. They don't let you score. And they have Pro Bowlers all over it. They have,
They got the best tight end, the best flexible player at this point. I think Tyreek Hill is going to be a Rookie of the Year candidate. They got 6 pro. Look, think about this. They were 2-14 a few years ago. They were the worst team in the league, and they had 6 Pro Bowlers that year.
They have
2-14 team has 6 Pro Bowlers.
So many of those Pro Bowlers on defense. You got Tamba Hali, Justin Houston, Derrick Henry,
Derrick Johnson. I think he's hurt though.
Oh yeah, Derrick Johnson. Sorry.
And you got Dentari Poe.
And then you got who's that cornerback that they have now?
Marcus Peters.
Marcus Peters.
Amazing.
Boom. Eric Berry, right?
Eric Berry, probably the best safety of them all in the league.
And you get that many Pro Bowlers together, it's going to be hard to put up points against them.
It's a trap.
I mean, Pittsburgh's kind of an evenly matched team with them, but Kansas City's another one of those defenses that could just slow any offense down.
All right, people, I got to tell you why I need Kansas City to win the Super Bowl, though. All right.
Hit him with it. Hit him.
I'm rooting for Kansas City, one, because I hate Pittsburgh. I think Kansas City could beat New England. I think even if they have to go to New England, I think their defense can travel. Defense travels anywhere. Offense doesn't travel as well as defense. Defense, you can play defense anywhere, especially in a cold environment where it's going to be harder for everybody.
Always helps.
Yeah. But also this. My father, the recurring joke is going to be me being the gambler, right? I think that's going to be our thing, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Yeah. Right?
But don't tell them the joke.
Well, they know already.
Yeah, I know.
If you listen to our first show, thank you very much.
That's why he knows all the point spreads, because he has an addiction.
First things first, I want to thank everybody who listened to our first show.
When are you going to stop betting on games?
I need to find a bookie.
You could destroy your life.
You need to find a bookie if I need to destroy my life. So yeah, look. All right. So my father taught me everything about gambling, and he did a big gamble himself. Way before the season started, I don't know if I did mention this in the first show or not. My dad bet the Kansas City Chiefs to win it all this year, when the odds were really good. I forgot how much he bet. I think he bet like $50 to make like $1,000. Like the winning results, if the Kansas City wins the Super Bowl, will be like over $1,000. And you know what? He better win that. I want some of that too.
I like the Kansas City Chiefs, except for one guy.
Alex Smith.
I like his football IQ. He facilitates that offense very, very well, but he just doesn't have the arm strength to open it up as much as he should. And that's been the knock on him since he's been in San Francisco, and it's carried him to just be an efficient facilitator, kind of game-managing quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs. He throws to the tight end. The wide receivers, it's a lot of lateral stuff. It's a lot of lateral offense, and he throws to the running backs. That's all he's done for the last couple of years. He's really good at it, and which is why they win so much. But it's not, and he's just not a quarterback that I necessarily expect to take a team all the way. However, they have the other pieces to help him out, like the defense. And, and if they could just score enough points and limit the other team's scoring, they could win. So it's a nice little formula, but other than that, I just don't respect his physical talents, and I don't think sometimes they could do on offense what they really need to do to win the game.
For the most part, I agree with you. I've never been an Alex Smith fan. Again, like I said, I mentioned this earlier, my brother is a huge Niners fan, so he had to deal with Alex Smith all those years. I always thought that he's got that similar career to my Ryan Tannehill in a way, where, the first few years, Alex Smith never did anything, never really lived up to being the number 1 overall pick. Tannehill has a similar thing. He was like, the 7th pick in the draft.
Yeah, 7th, 8th, something like that.
And, he still hasn't really done anything yet. Like, this has definitely been his best year by far, but obviously, the tragic injury.
Yeah.
Derailed whatever chance to prove people wrong. But in the end, it's still that mentality, Alex Smith is Alex Smith,
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of him personally. I've never was.
I like his mind. I like his head. I just don't like his physical talent.
Yeah. I like his footwork. That guy can run.
Yeah.
But I respect the hell out of Andy Reid.
I do too.
I think Andy Reid is one of the best coaches in the league by far. I think Andy Reid finally has the quarterback he kind of always wanted. I think a very coachable quarterback. I don't think he ever really loved Donovan McNabb. And Michael Vick was always inconsistent like hell.
Yep.
So he kind of has his guy. I think he trusts his guy.
No, he definitely trusts him.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a question of trust.
I think this is definitely, these Sunday games is going to be interesting to watch, because I think both these games are going to be down to the wire. I think it could be one of those 2-minute drive games. I think a key interception will make them break the game. Something about this Kansas City team, you ever just watch a season and it's you feel like there's something about this team that you feel like is going to go farther than people think.
Yeah.
It's happened, you're just man, I think don't sleep on that team kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, Andy Reid's put Alex Smith in an offense the best kind of offense where Alex Smith can succeed in.
Yeah. And I feel just this season, look, the great winning streak, the great at home, they're not really well respected. They're not
an underdog.
They're an underdog.
They're a very talented underdog.
Yeah, let's face it.
And a very well coached underdog.
Yeah, it's a team no one loves because they're not a sexy team. They don't have that amazing quarterback or that amazing wide receiver or even any personalities. They're just a team that does their job, and they do it so great.
And they do have a really great formula for playoff football in the cold.
Yeah.
Defense and little short passes.
Yeah. Both these teams can play in the cold, so there's no real advantage there. Arrowhead's going to be really loud
Yeah,
Sunday.
no, Arrowhead is always really loud. Them and the Seattle Stadium always compete for.
And look, Andy Reid, he needs to look. I've said this because the Super Bowl win is so important for these coaches if they want to make the Hall of Fame. Andy Reid is just a Super Bowl win to get to the Hall of Fame, and I think this is going to be the year. I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl. I hope they win for my dad's sake so he can make some money. And even for the city of Kansas City, I think they've always been a great fan base, and that team has been snake bitten way too many times in their career.
That's true.
Yeah, so I am rooting for them. I think Pittsburgh, the whole Joey Porter thing, and then there's been criticism of Mike Tomlin, and Big Ben's got a walking boot right now, though I think it's not that big of a deal like people think. I think Pittsburgh has been a little inconsistent this year. They're a great team, but I think it's going to be a really close battle. I think Kansas City is going to want it just a little bit more.
I could see that.
Yeah, I could
totally see Andy Reid doing that double teaming on Antonio Brown. Whenever Andy Reid seems to play A.J. Green, he puts two cornerbacks to press man him all the time.
Yep.
And takes A.J. Green out of the game. So maybe he might do that with Antonio Brown. Because you shut down their passing attack, and then all you got to do is worry about Le'Veon Bell and those linebackers and that defensive line. They could totally do that.
Yep. I mean,
so I know what I'm gonna take Kansas City, and I'm gonna lock it up.
I'm taking the KC. I'm with you on the Chiefs. I think this is the year they at least make the Super Bowl. I think there's just something mad. Like I had New England to make the Super Bowl before the season started, and an old Facebook post, but this Kansas City team just feels like it's just meant. There's some destiny involved. There's we may be exaggerating and stuff like that, but I believe there is some little destiny. And I think this Kansas City team can go as far as they can. I think they're built for the cold. I just think they can get it done. I think they can go to Foxborough and beat New England. I am gonna pick them to beat Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh will beat itself somehow. And yeah, we'll see where it goes from there.
I can totally see that.
Yeah.
I can totally see that. Let me just say, I didn't even think about your Hall of Fame take on Andy Reid, but now that I think about it, I really would love, if he makes it that far, I'm totally rooting for him, because he is a great coach. And I don't think he got enough respect in Philadelphia. I know he did when he was winning at the time, but I think they kicked him out too soon, and they should have just held on to him because he's a coach who knows what he's doing. He's smart. He's a great coach, and I really want him to win at least one Super Bowl.
I think him going to Kansas City was probably the best decision. I think it was probably for the best. They both, Philadelphia and Andy Reid, move on. I think, you know how it is. You work with someone so long, you feel like you kind of ran its course. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like dating somebody for a long time. When you probably have to end it.
Yeah. Okay, so next game.
Yeah. All right, this game is definitely going to be the most watched division game probably of all time. The Green Bay Packers versus the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, man. This is the matchup I've been waiting for all season.
Minus 4.5 points. The Cowboys are favorite. We're not going to go into the detail of the story of the Cowboys this year because, every freaking sports media talks about it.
Uh-huh.
Not to mention they've been in every freaking primetime game up to this point, from what it feels like.
It's a, Dak Prescott, Zeke Elliott, offensive line.
The deflector shield.
Very little Des Bryant this season. He appears here and there when Dak wants to throw to him. Jason Witten's been a big part of that offense, too. Their defense, I didn't think their defense would be that good, but it's actually been really good this year. But it's not a sexy defense. They don't really have a good pass rush. But
they still don't, really.
No, they don't. But they still slow down teams. So, what's your take on this game, Robbie?
I really, really hate the Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? You know what? F those Cowboys. I always hated the
Cowgirls.
The Cowgirls. They're the Cowgirls. This has been a very interesting season for them, and I didn't expect Dak Prescott to be this great. I think that offensive line...
The deflector shield.
Like, that offensive line just really proves that, man, people, offensive lines matter. Be happy when they draft a tackle or a guard. Okay? Ooh, wide receivers, sexy wide receivers don't win Super Bowls.
Nope.
Man.
Quarterbacks win Super Bowls.
Quarterbacks and protecting your quarterback wins Super Bowls.
Well, and defenses too.
That defenses too. But I'm saying, like, part of the reason Tom Brady's been so great because no one touches Tom Brady.
Exactly.
The deflector shield.
So my take on this game, I kind of just realized this right now. I'm going to go with it. I'm going to stick with it. I think the Packers are going to take down the Cowboys. They're going to take down the Cowboys, and Dak Prescott and Zeke Elliott. Know why? Because that defense has very little pass rush. And we've seen it last game when you give Aaron Rodgers like 8 seconds in the pocket, he's going to pick you apart. And I think that the Packers will do that all game because although they don't have a great running offensive line, their offensive line is rated like the best in the league at pass protection.
The deflector shield.
Yeah, Rodgers gets a lot of time in that pocket.
And I think if Rodgers puts up enough points, the Cowboys are not going to be able to match that. I mean, I know the Packers' defense is pretty bad, too. I think they're a bottom-ranked defense. But, you know, they turn it on at times. Like, despite the lack of talent and the injuries that they've had, they turn it on at times. And I think Rodgers is going to come away with this one.
I completely agree. Maybe part of me is probably picking the Packers because I just hate the Cowboys so much. I think it's been at least in Dallas, I think it's a terrible story, but in Dallas, it's a great story for them this whole season,
I like the Cowboys, I really do. But I think that...
Okay, I quit as your co-host after this show. I refuse to work with a Cowboys fan.
I'm sorry, man. I mean, I like them this year. They're playing good football, but I just think Aaron Rodgers is better. I'm still with you on it. No, please don't quit. Please.
Fine, but I still hate your guts.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, look, Rodgers is... Trust me, it's not going to be a repeat from the last game. This game is going to be a lot closer. It will not be one-sided like last time. This team knows what they are. Aaron Rodgers is playing on an elite level. I think he is going to win this game. I think I got to give props to Dak Prescott. I think he's a very poise. He's got a lot of great poise. But
really high passer rating.
Yeah, but man, it's the biggest stage. The world's watching. It's been a great run, but man, eventually that Dallas team has to lose. Mm-hmm. No rookie quarterback is going to take whatever went to the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl.
Had the Giants won, I think they would have a chance against the Giants, but I don't know. I just think the Packers are just so hot right now.
Yeah, the Packers are just playing the best football right now. They're just beating up teams. The last few games they're just putting up points. Minnesota came to their place and they dissected that Minnesota defense. I don't care if Minnesota had not that much to play for it. All division rivals always play hard against each other. And this is Packers Cowboys, man. This is a blood feud right here.
All right. So, final thoughts on our beloved Miami Dolphins season.
Final thoughts. It's been an interesting season for the Dolphins. It's nice to be somewhat relevant again. I kind of do feel bad for Tannehill because he still hasn't proven himself yet. And I think that stigma will be there for a long time until he actually does it. But it's a bright future, I guess. Adam Gase.
We're heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
We really are. The Dolphins, I mean, we lost that last playoff game, but, we did stand a chance in it. I don't care what the score says. I think had they scored on those two possessions before the first half and at the beginning of the second half, I think we would have made a game of it, and we potentially could have won that game. Because it was very, if we score on that game, the game's basically tied, and we're pretty close, and we could pull it out because we've won every single close game we've been in this year, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the future is bright for the Miami Dolphins. We should be ecstatic because all we need to do is fix this defense. I think the major problem with this defense is just fixing the linebacker position. I think if we could get two really good linebackers I think the defense is pretty much set because Tony Lippett and Xavier Howard, Byron Maxwell, they've done a really, really good job this season, surprisingly. Like, Tony Lippett was a find. Xavier Howard was a really good draft pick. I mean, I know he's been banged up here and there and missed a couple games, but he looks very, very promising.
He's been really good. That was a good draft pick.
Yeah. If we could get Rashad Jones healthy, and if we could get Abdul Quddus back, who was a great free agent pickup, he played really well this season.
Yeah, Miami does that. Miami will pick like a random free agent that you never even heard of, and he plays very solid.
Yeah, but that's what you want to do. You want to find those hidden gems that you get on the cheap and plug them in and have them have a big impact on your team. So when you think about it, this defense, it's pretty easily fixable. We might need a younger defensive end to replace Cameron Wake. We might, or at least go on the other side of him.
All right. We'll get into more details about that next episode. We'll get into more details of what we should do this off season. Until then, I hope everybody has a great day. Go Dolphins. F the Cowboys. F the Patriots. F the Steelers.
All right. Let's go, Andy Reid.
Go Packers.
All right. We'll see you next time, guys.